So one of the next things that we really saw when observing our tools in action was that our tools just don't really remember anything. They don't remember you, who you are. They remember your license key, but nothing really material. And they don't really remember where you are. And we thought that was kind of sad, actually, that a person that visits the same location over and over and over and over, our tools doesn't help try to make it a little more of a smooth process to know where you are and to be able to trigger an event or something. And so that question really came up quite a bit is, well, can our tools remember where you have been and show what's changed in the network in the area that you're at? Because it really goes back to, I had a blue pen, here it is, the siloed nature of some of our tools, like I'll bring in a reviewer now, where all these are really just in their little silos. They don't know you, they don't know each other, they don't know where you're at, they don't know anything like that. So they're really just kind of blocked like this. Is there something we could do about that?
If there was only a way.
There's only a way. And this is kind of a two-parter because we're going to have a little longer of a demo.
Oh, my part. Okay. Another thing about our tools is they don't work together. And we have a lot of customers where they have multiple people on a team. Or sometimes they're sharing our tools, and the tools don't realize that you have other people on the team. Or if we're both IT people, and last time I went to a site, and next time Adam's going to a site, our tools don't remember any of that. And so they're very single function and siloed, and they're not talking to each other, and they're not sharing any information between different people on the team. And so we want to make it easier for teammates to collaborate and work together. This is very similar to what you guys kind of heard yesterday from NetAlly. Similar kind of thing with like, how do you collaborate? And so we've been working on this, on collaboration. You guys can picture that? Okay. Actually, this goes straight to the demo, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do some more hands-on demo now. Okay, so this is Insider. A lot of the information here is going to be similar to what Adam just showed at AirViewer, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail there. But you can see there's a lot of different networks here. I'm connected to the Plaza Guest Wireless. That's what the star means. And so if I click on the star, I can go straight into Plaza Guest Wireless. You can see all their access points. And there's a lot going on. If you look over here on the right side, it says add a site. And this is some of the new stuff we've done to try to remember where you are and get some more context for the location. So the first thing to do is we're going to name this site, and to make sure that we haven't done anything in the past, like let's get a real name. Who wants to name this?
Earl's Rib Shack.
Name the site.
Earl's Rib Shack.
Oh, there we go.
Sweet.
That sounds tasty.
So I'm now at Earl's Rib Shack, and we are in, this room is called Santa Clara room. So let's do that. So that's the name of the room that we're in. We're going to type that, and that just remembered everything that we're at. So it just basically took a snapshot of everything that we're seeing and stored it away. And we could go around Earl's Rib Shack, and we could go to the patio and the balcony, maybe the kitchen, and we could get snapshots of all the different rooms and kind of get a feel for what's going on in the network there. And then down here in the small print, it says snapshots will be automatically uploaded when you exit Insider. So we're going to go and exit Insider now.
Does it remember, like next time it sees those BSS IDs, does it know you're in that location again?
Let's find out. I can double click.
Would be nice to have a floor plan. I say it would be nice to have a floor plan and you can place.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, can you plot that on a map and then like show some like heat maps of what like the coverage might be?
Perhaps.
Have you seen
there we
that
go.
anywhere?
That sounds very new and innovative.
So it figured out your right.
Site name, Earl's Rib Shack. Yep. Yep. So we're basically do a scan, check out all the BSS that we see, send that up to the cloud, say, have you seen this place before? Oh, yep, I know where you are.
Does it look at all of the BSS or just the strongest few? I mean, how does it determine that?
We're sending up the entire list.
Okay.
And then it's looking to see if there's more than 2 or 3 that match.
Okay.
So we had an issue where if you had like a mobile hotspot and we're
Exactly.
walking around with it, it was like,
That's
So
why.
we're like, if your list is more than 10, you need to have at least 3 that are matching.
Okay.
If you're somewhere in the middle of nowhere and there's only 3, networks that show up, okay. If 1 or 2 match, we're fine.
So tilt-up networks, that's problematic for, right? I'm thinking if you show up at Cisco Live Barcelona, and they decom those APs and take them to San Diego, and then they take
Right.
them to.
It would probably think you were still in Barcelona. Yeah. So there's a few situations where what we're doing isn't quite right. But for most places, it's quick and easy to remember.
But what kind of historical information does it keep that's relevant to know that I'm at that site?
That's a great question. Do you want to demo that now too?
I think we're going to flip over and look at
Okay.
something new.
So we'll answer that
All right.
coming along. And this will go back to Hayden's question earlier, thinking about like, what if your handheld the technician had could get some data into?
All right, so I just logged into Rampart, which is, dare I say, our new cloud environment.
Ooh.
You guys like that word? Is that an okay word to use?
Yeah, I like that.
I've seen some things posted on Twitter and blogged out that I'm trying to stay away from.
No, you're good. You're good. You just
Certain-
made Sean very
certain
good.
things.
There's some machine learning behind this.
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but maybe. I don't know.
Don't call it. Does your AI make it 80 times more accurate? It's not AI.
Only
it's
80?
ML.
Yeah, no, come on. So I just refreshed this page. I logged into Rampart. So if you're familiar to logging into your account previously at my.metageek.com, we're rebranding that to Rampart, and it's going to be more of an experience around being able to view the snapshots that were sent up from Insider or sent up, I'll show you very soon, from AirViewer, and to be able to look at the different sites and the different sessions and the different data that was collected during that snapshot, during that visit. So you asked a question earlier, what is it? Whoa, look at that network topology. So obviously, since there's a lot of APs around for this hotel, we see the network topology for the Plaza Guest Wireless listed below. But right now what this is at this particular location, what's the strongest AP, what's the strongest 2.4 signal that we're getting, what's the strongest 5 gigahertz signal that we're getting, and then what's the overall topology for the network that is seen at this location. So this is basically the start for what we're displaying in this particular view of the dashboard. What we intend to carry forward or to go iterate forward on is to be able to drill down more into specific details, like who's the loudest neighbor, for instance, or since AirViewer is able to pick up client information, what are the details of the clients that were brought up during that snapshot, and to show you some more like, before and after. This is the previous snapshot compared to this snapshot, how has stuff changed at that location, how has stuff changed at that the network for that site. Is there a new AP that was added? Is an AP not there that was there before? Is there a new neighboring network that's there now and it's really loud? These type of things we'll be able to collect and show you some insights on. Yes, Keith?
Yeah. Your little pictures, little icons up there, which of those interface with Rampart?
Can I come back to that?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
I think back to what you were just on, the information that showed, you're talking about being able to compare what was there before. Does it actually compare and say this is what's different, or do you just see both sets of data and you have to determine what is different from last time?
So right now you'll see, like today you'll see the two different sets of data, but that's where we're quickly iterating towards, is to be able to compare this versus the previous, or this versus a benchmark, which may not have been the previous, maybe it was like 5 snapshots ago.
Okay.
And to be able to see that comparison. And then holistically for the topology of the network, what has changed? New neighbors, AP's gone, new AP, new security settings, whatever, all that type of information that could be compared against that would provide an insight to you where you could have an action to fix it or resolve it or look more into it.
Could you set a pseudo benchmark instead of a previous one,
Yeah.
but a requirement set?
Like thresholds or like standards,
Yeah,
like
the
a standard set.
for this
Yeah.
Starbucks.
So maybe I've
plan.
never experienced what I actually want, but this is what it ideally should be. Yeah.
Are you guys?
I think that idea is on our roadmap. We haven't got there yet, but we've talked about for large organizations where they have their own configurations.
Ooh, sorry, I clicked this button real quick. I don't know if you saw that. Sorry. But I just clicked the snapshot button in Air Viewer. And you recall that Ryan, when he was Insider, created this new site and added the Santa Clara room. And so Air Viewer is able to pick up that from Rampart and say, hey, it looks like you're at this site, and here's a room that's already there. And then let's go ahead and take a snapshot of that. So it's going to capture the Wi-Fi data. And once that little blue spinny icon stops, then it should have all the collected data that it needs.
How many sweeps are you doing when you do a snapshot? Like how many times are you sweeping the frequencies? Just once or?
So in this case, it's doing once through everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, through all 2.4 and 5, everything that was enabled.
Being on the mobile device, is there any plans to add the ability to upload a photo? So I've found something that shouldn't be here. Snap.
Yeah.
Here's what the scan is.
Yeah.
Then
So
clear.
you're not quite seeing it here because this one is more so almost ready to release. But in our design concepts, yeah, there's the ability to upload a photo, add notes for that snapshot area, add a description for that area as well. So right now you could create a description for the site at a high level, like this is Earl's Rib Shack. It's a delicious place. Get lunch afterwards, whatever your description is. And then for each location, you could also write a description like at this particular location where we're smoking the meat, the APs behind this brick wall or something like that, or whatever kind of notes that you might want to know as a person that's going around surveying. So it could be a description for that, as well as a note for the snapshot that you're taking now, as well as a note for the session in its entirety. Like maybe on that day they just had like a failover or something like that. Like one of their providers went down, so they switched over to the other one. So it's kind of a different environment in a way.
So going back to your question earlier, Hayden, about sort of like what do you do if you send the technician out? That's kind of where we're trying to go to is can we send a technician out with a small tool? It's simple. He can press a couple buttons, get the data uploaded that we need, and then you have that back wherever you are.
So now you've taken the snapshot with also having some spectrum on it. Does that come back as well?
So we're not quite there with the spectrum, but yeah, that's also on the roadmap, is to be able to do some kind of recording of spectrum and pump that up into Rampart so you can see what it looks like for the last so many whatever seconds or minutes or whatever it might be.
On the Air Spy, it has a Wi-Fi chip. I'm assuming it's FCC compatible, so you can use it to associate and get an IP address, get a DHCP response time. Are you collecting that live collected data about the network? Not just the scanning part, but as a client, I did this. This is my response. I can hit Google. I can hit these places.
We are not.
Yeah, we haven't gone that route with the Wi-Fi Air itself, but that's not to say that we couldn't do it with the AirViewer app.
FCC allows you to transmit.
Yeah, it's just, yep. FCC allows us to transmit. It's a little more in the power of the computing inside the AirViewer to tell it to go do an association instead of just scanning.
Even if it recorded things like the DHCP server and the DNS servers that it was assigned as a client, you go back to a site, there's a problem, and the change is, hey, a new DHCP server has shown up.
I think
that isn't mine. That would be valuable.
Yeah, and that's great. Yeah, I'm going to write it down.
All right, so I just went back here and refresh, and now we see the team environment work. So Ryan was logged in with his account, I was logged in with my account. We're both under the same team, and we're able to share and view each other's snapshot data.
Actually, that's one other thing. Does it record what's actually taken the snapshot?
Of what?
Does it record what device has taken the snapshot, whether it was the embedded laptop, wireless NIC, or whether it was...
I think it does now. It didn't last week, but I think it does this week because we had that same issue.
Yeah.
Was this with the AirViewer or was it
Insider or Airviewer? Yeah.
You got about 5 dB differential between the two. Have you done any sort of offsetting between the devices that are collecting the data?
Not yet, but one of the first steps is which device was this?
Yeah.
So I think that's good. Yeah. And we're also now listing, isn't there yet? Who did it? Yeah. So it says who was the one that took that snapshot, and then I think in the back end now we have which device it was with. So.
Are there any pros and cons for Android and Apple?
Apple good, Android bad?
Yes. What was your question?
Are there any pros
It's
and
the
cons?
Wi-Fi. It's not as cut and dry.
Is there anything that one platform can't do that the other can?
Right now with the AirViewer app, no. We're getting pretty much everything from the Wi-Fi Air. There is some things that we're getting from the device itself, so it might change if, let's say, Apple or Android changes their API a little bit different, because one thing that we get from the device is that if you're connected to a network, we'll show a little chain link icon next to it. And that's like the one call that we get. And right now we're able to get that from both Apple and Android, but it could be that iOS 13 comes out and that's no longer available or whatever. But that really goes into why we wanted something like the Wi-Fi Air, is to get rid of all those constraints on devices and just the reliance that we have on our other tools of only being able to take data from their Wi-Fi chipset, from their API, whatever it is that they allow us to have access to. So in this case, we're just bypassing all that, which is pretty nice.
Could you create, from the cloud interface, could you create like a report or like a certification? It's kind of like, when the cabler states they cable, they have this certification they can send to the certificate they can send to the customer. Could you just, for like quick site, a small site, send the technician with that tool, and they would do like a sweep or a couple of sweeps, and it would create a certificate, telling us it's matching the requirements, and then sending that to the customer? Because I could see that tool being used by service providers, technicians, going on site and doing a quick check.
Yeah, which is a great idea. So where we're at right now with Rampart is we have a list of like 7 or 8 usage scenarios, and we're on about number 2, and that's on the list about 5 or 6.
Okay.
And so that's the type of stuff that we want to do with it, and we're still really early stages with. We're getting data up. We're getting data up from two different platforms.
Yeah.
Now, what can we do with that data? But that is on our list, and we're very excited to get there.
Yeah.
So we can do more of that birth certificate.
And you could have like maybe like inside the tool you could plan some tests that you want to do. Like, I don't know, like a throughput test or a couple of websites you want to check. And include that into the list of things to do when you go on site, on top of just doing the scan, because you have access to the Wi-Fi NIC, right? So you could leverage that to do more stuff.
Yep.
I have a question around the data sets, kind of piggybacking off of what David asked earlier. So if you're not doing a true diff yet, how is the data presented? Is it just two different data sets that you would look at?
Right now it is.
Yeah, so it'd be basically like this. You would just drill down and see that data set, and then you go into the other one and see that data set. But quickly coming is more comparisons. That's something that we want to iterate towards very quickly in the Rampart environment.
And you don't have to answer this because it might be internal secret sauce. How do you calculate utilization on a band and then on a frequency?
Oh, I can go with that. Basically, what we're showing right now from Insider and everything is from the QBSS. So we're getting QBSS for the channel, and so when we do the scan, if we get QBSS for any channel, we're just grabbing the strongest one and saying that's what we got.
So what about if you have APs that aren't broadcasting QBSS?
Most places, most channels have one. That's kind of what we're seeing. And if it's not there, we just don't show anything. As soon as we get packets, now we can start just calculating the actual airtime of all the packets that we're seeing.
Yeah. So right now in AirViewer, we're showing the QBSS if it's there. If not, then we'll just give the calculated rate from looking at the packets.
You're not using the spectrum data to calculate?
No, Wi-Fi data.
No, so so that would be something else I'm thinking for the roadmap for AirViewer is to give utilization of just RF. And so if you're familiar with Channelizer, there's the RF or the utilization tab. So it'd be something similar to that. So you could just see the raw RF utilization. And then maybe we could do something interesting too, like show how much utilization is Wi-Fi versus non-Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I think that'd be pretty cool. Do you guys think that'd be pretty cool?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just one behind the scenes shot. Do you want to show them?
I'd love to be able to see
going.
channel utilization versus like what QBSS says. So what you think you see from Spectrum
Yeah.
versus
Compare the two.
what the AP thinks it hears versus what the Wi-Fi thinks it hears.
Yes.
And then I have an off-the-wall, almost a licensing question. So in maybe a multi-person team where you have if you guys are sending like a field technician out, is it fair to assume that anybody could just download the app and have it on their mobile device, and then it's the licenses with with the dongle?
Yeah.
As usual. Okay, great.
I like that.
So this is a design prototype that we're currently iterating on right here. So this actually changed since the last time I looked at it, which is kind of cool. But you can see the signal strength over time and the ability to set a benchmark. But I love the idea of having the preferred benchmark. I think that's a great addition, just to be able to do that as opposed to just making a previous scan your benchmark. Maybe if you don't like it, it's not a good thing. But yeah, this is kind of more of the direction that we're currently iterating towards, is to have more graphical stuff, have more comparisons.
So if you go on site and take multiple snapshots at the same location, would you be able to go back in time and in the cloud and and for that specific session, see all the different snapshots?
Yeah, so that'd be the history tab right here. So in that previous view, it would just list it out in this big long list. But if you got down to that room level, you would be able to go to the snapshot history and then view some of the key information for the strongest APs that were present at that time, and then click on it to view that same details that I was showing you over here.
I see this looks like it's actually interactive. You can click on buttons to change things. But I saw there was an export at the bottom. Are you able to export it so to effectively give a customer the ability to play with it instead of just getting a PDF without actually logging into your account?
I mean, this is just the UI designer where we're going. So this is from a UI designer. So the concept is, yes, that export button that she says will do something will do that. But just caveat that this is all future. We haven't actually implemented this yet.
Any more questions? So I think we covered a lot of what's on the short-term roadmap for Rampart, which is the comparisons, the highlight changes, increased awareness of users' environment, capabilities. So we're getting more information about what the capabilities of that environment is, from like being able to send a beacon information, being able to see client information, that sort of stuff. So we really just want to be able to understand the users, the customer's environment, and to be able to provide good insights that relate to their actual use cases, their actual scenarios that they live and work in. Because it could be that, hey, you have this particular network in terms of APs that's like a Ferrari, but then you have all these Pintos as clients. Like, can we see something that makes sense? And in that kind of environment, well, why do you have so many Pintos? Is it the AP situation? Is it the client situation? Can there be more on an even level?
Yeah, keep going.
And then also the ability to share more with your team. So that kind of goes back into Rampart back here. Got my blue pen again. So Keith asked the question, what part is in Rampart today? And so this is going to be the culmination of my cool little drawing here. So this is Rampart. And so the idea is that with Rampart, we break down the silos that our current apps have, where Rampart could be something that brings just everything together. Ta-da! But anyways, Rampart right now works with AirViewer in terms of the demo that you just saw, and with Insider. But to go beyond that, how does it work with IPA? How does it work with Channelizer? Well, can WiSpy Air and AirViewer be a collector of sorts, where it's collecting the RF information, and then you could store it in your Rampart account and then view it in Channelizer? Or can it do the same thing with packets? Can it collect some packets via somewhere and then be able to view that in IPA? So really, Rampart's going to be the thing that just brings all our tools together.
And so how are you going to productize that or sell it? Or how does a consumer get access to it? And if is Rampart a SKU that you buy and you get all of the applications in one, and it's a single SKU purchase type of thing, or what?
Ryan, are you interested in answering that one?
I don't think that. So as we're going with more things connected together and collaborating, we're collecting more of the history in the cloud and everything. That's one reason we're switching more to like a SaaS model.
Yeah.
And so we're looking at 3 different tiers. We have Plus, Pro, and Expert. Right now, Plus and Pro are available, and then Expert will come out. Expert's plan to have Channelizer and IPA all kind of bundled in. And so if you have an Expert subscription, you get all of Rampart, you get Channelizer IPA, you get all of it. Probably hardware will be sold separately outside the subscription. And then the lower tiers won't have Channelizer and IPA because they're not the Expert, so they don't need that deep analysis. But it'll be basically per seat licensing on a subscription, and then it'll all connect to your team. So if you have a team, you can have 2 or 3 experts, you can have a bunch of people that are just pro, all that data can be coming together.
Would you pay like every month, every year? Would you have different?
We currently have monthly or annual.
Okay.
So we've had the Plus subscription out for a while now. We've had it that way, and we just introduced Pro, kind of silently introduced about a week ago. So if you go to buy Plus, it now says, oh, there's also this thing called Pro, and you have unlimited sites, unlimited snapshots, and the ability to have team members. So that's now available right now.
Okay.
Yeah, monthly, annual. We don't care how often you want to pay us, as long as you'll pay us.
It's fine.
Since the Wi-Fi Air hardware has a Wi-Fi chip that you control, any chance of getting it to be the feeder for IPA? To be the packet collector?
Yes, there is a chance. We're currently working on getting the spectrum from Air into Insider and Channelizer. And then after we get that part going, then we'll look at what the packets we can do. Because like once you buy the Wi-Fi Air, what can we? Let's do everything we can with it, since you bought the hardware and it's kind of expensive hardware.
And are you thinking of maybe putting like IPA in the cloud? So when the technician uploads the PCAP, you could have some sort of analysis right off the bat. Like what would be the border?
Yeah, so we're trying to figure out what we can do with the cloud and what else we can put in there. A lot of times PCAPs get large, and so we don't want super large PCAPs going back and forth. But we are trying to figure out how we can do more connection. And later on, when we scratch off the part of your agenda, we'll get a little bit. We'll answer part of that question.
Okay.
Well, speaking of that,
Yeah.
is there any other questions before we move on?
Yeah, it's crazy. Of these, which are available on what OS? So AirViewer, iOS and Android, Channelizer, Windows.
IPA Windows.
Yeah.
Insider is basically Windows right now, and we're working on getting to Mac again. Right now, the Mac one is fairly outdated, so I'm not going to even claim necessarily Mac support. So. But we've built it on .NET cross-platform stuff with Mono, and so we're looking at, can we get the port back up to speed? Because most of us have Macs. I have Windows, but most of us have Macs, and it's a great platform.
Is that going to change with Catalina and the announcements that Apple made about being able to port mobile apps to OS? Apparently they're making it really easy to basically tick a box in Xcode and go, it's now on Mac OS.
I'm not sure. I can't answer that question. I haven't looked at it enough.
But I also think it's important to say that we have a philosophy that whatever devices that users are using, we want to have our software available on that. So I know that you guys, in the past, we've said it, but we've been pretty slow to deliver Mac versions of IPA, of Channelizer, of Insider. But that's, again, it's something that we really feel sincere about, is that we want to have Mac versions of our software available. We don't think having just Windows or just one OS for our software is the right way to go. So we're making a much more conscious effort to get our stuff into Mac than we have previously.
And with going more towards kind of cloud and subscription and team collaboration, we want to be able to get data from as many places as we can in. And we don't want to have blocks on how to get the data in.
Yeah.
So Brian Ward asks, any open APIs for Rampart Wi-Fi Air? Can we throw a Wi-Fi Air in a location and remotely monitor it?
Not yet.
It's all the above.
So not yet? Yeah, I think so. I think there's no API, there's no remote. You could throw it in a remote, but it's not really going to get the data up. You'd have to push the snapshot button when you needed it and stuff.
Very good.